Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be checking out the Bodega cooler. It's a 12 volt cooler. I believe the series is WD45. So let's open it up and see what we got. Alright, when you first open this cooler, you are going to find out that it is also strapped down with some tie straps. Alright, tie straps are cut. Big piece of styrofoam. Let's just drop this box. Alright, and here is the Bodega WD45 12 volt cooler. Okay, right there on the side it says Bodega cooler. I see that we have a bottle opener right there. We got a vent for the compressors to let out the hot air. We have rubber wheels, which is a good sign. On the back here, we have the DC 12 volt, 24 volt plug and a carrying handle right here. And also there are two, looks like tie down straps. So you can actually use these to strap it down to your vehicle or wherever you want to mount it so it doesn't slide around. On the top, it looks like we have a display screen. Let's go ahead and take this off. Okay. And it looks like a USB port. It's a USB-A port. It's probably just a 5 volt, 1 amp port. On top, you also see a couple of cup holders right here. And the thing about this WD45 is it's actually dual zone. So we have two separate compartments. I believe both of them have drains at the bottom. And there is some boxes in there with more accessories. And then there is this area right here, because this cooler can actually be powered with a battery. You can get a battery from Bodega, or I think you can use like Dewalt 20 volt batteries if you have the correct adapter. Or you can just use it as storage. On this side, we have a couple of more tie down straps and a nice handle to be able to wheel it around. And this handle actually clips back in place, so it'll stay right where it's at. And the back side just has more ventilation slots for the compressor. All right, let's find out what's inside these boxes. And these are the Dewalt adapters. So these are the adapters that you would slide your 20 volt, I think it's a 20 volt 2 amp or 4 amp battery in. I'm not really sure what. Here we go. There's a little adapter user's manual. It says it's compatible with most 18 to 20 volt battery tools on the market. So I don't know if it really cares what the amp hour is, as long as it's 20 volt. And for this adapter, it has to be a DeWalt. So we got two of those. And then this other box is the AC and DC adapters. And there's also a frequently asked questions and the Bodega cooler instruction manual. So let's go ahead and get the physical dimensions of this cooler. It is about 28 inches wide and 19 inches tall. And the depth is right at 16 inches. And the weight is just a little under 40 pounds. All right, we're gonna go ahead and power this thing up. What we're going to be using is the Blue Eddy AC50B. So that way we can plug in the DC and see how much wattage it uses. And then we'll actually go ahead and plug in the AC and see what the difference is. All right, when it comes to the AC power brick, you get about a 5-foot cord that plugs into the brick. And then you get about another 12 to 15 inches of cord after that. And on the AC brick, it does say that it will input between 100 and 240 volts at 50 to 60 hertz at 2.5 amps. And the output will be 14.5 volts at 6 amps. So that's right at 87 watts. All right, plugging it in. All right, and let's turn it on and see what happens. All right, it has an LCD display. Right when you show it, it shows 53 degrees and 52 degrees on the right side. It's on max mode, and the voltage of the battery is 14.5 volts. And then the M is for your battery management. there is low, medium, and high, and that will make it so you can adjust it to make sure that this thing doesn't kill your car battery if you have it plugged into your car. And right now it is using 72 watts at first startup. Let's see, when you open these up, you do have an LED light on the side right there. And this one does have an LED light as well. You can see that the compressor is on this side, so it uses up a little bit of the space that's available. So I'm going to let this thing cool down for just a few minutes, and then I'm going to switch it over to DC to see how much energy it's using on the DC side. All right, I've been kind of messing around with this thing while it's cooling down. And let me just show you that we are using 81 watts right now, and it is on max mode. Now it's showing that it's 48 degrees in the left cooler, now 47, and 51 degrees Fahrenheit in the right cooler. Now if you want to adjust those, you would hit either plus or minus, and it will kind of trigger the temperature. So if you want to do the left one, you see it blinking now, and if you wanted to do the right one, you'd have to trigger it and then press the cog, and it would go over to the right side, and then you could switch them back and forth like that. So let's say we wanted to change the left one to 30 degrees, and we wanted to change the right one to 0 degrees. So we would press this, and it's already flashing here, so we'll just say 30. And then we hit the cog to go to the other side, and we would raise this up to 0. And then we would just wait for it to quit flashing, and it's set. But I'm going to go ahead and set it back because I want those other settings. So I just press this, go up to 37, hit the cog, go down to -4. -4 is the lowest it'll go, unless you go into ice cream mode. And I'll show you that in a little bit. It does show that it's max right now. If you want to change that to eco mode, you just hit the cog quickly, and then you press it again to switch it between eco and maximum mode. And if you want to change the battery management, you long press the cog, and the M will start flashing. And then you just short press it to switch it between high, low, and medium. The voltages are in the documentation. Also, if you only wanted to use one side, you would press, like let's just say you wanted to turn off the left side, you would press the plus sign and the cog at the same time, just like this. And you would long press it for like 3 seconds, and then it shuts it off. So those 3 dashes means that this side, that the left side over here is now shut off. And if you wanted to turn it back on, you just do it again. There you go, and it's back on. And if you wanted to do the right side, you would hold the minus and the cog at the same time, and it would shut off the right side. So it's nice. There's a lot of options in this little small display right here. All right, and speaking of ice cream mode, to get into ice cream mode, and the difference between ice cream mode and just lowering this thing down all the way is ice cream mode can actually get this down to like -7.6 degrees Fahrenheit, which I believe is like -22 degrees Celsius. And I think that just makes it so your ice cream stays more ice cream-esque, I guess. But it makes it so it's just as frozen as it can be. But you would long press the negative button right here, the minus button, and you'll see that the right-hand side goes into ice mode, and that means ice cream. And so this one is set to the lowest possible it can be. And it's nice because it looks like you can still adjust the other side, but the ice cream mode is fixed. If you want to get out of ice cream mode, all you got to do is hold the plus sign for 3 seconds, and it gets out of ice cream mode. And it's back to what it was before we went into ice cream mode. All right, this thing's already at 39 degrees Fahrenheit and 46 degrees Fahrenheit, so I'm gonna go ahead and power it off and switch it over to the DC cigarette lighter port, and then we're gonna see how much wattage we're using from there. Because right now, our output is 77 watts, and it is on eco mode. So how about we switch it to, let's switch it to max mode. All right, when I switch this to max mode, we are now using 117 watts. So let's go ahead and turn this off and start using the DC output over here. And all you gotta do is this long press and it powers off the unit. It's nice, this DC cord is nice and long. I would say it's about 12 to 13 feet. Let's go ahead and plug it into our cigarette lighter adapter. And turn it on. All right, when I first plugged it in, it looks like we're using about 41 watts from the DC cord, the DC part of this. And I'm waiting to see once this thing really kicks on if it goes any higher. All right, well, it's been running for 5 minutes from the DC side, and it's only using 35 watts. And this thing is down to 24 degrees over here and 18 degrees over here. Because I actually turned this one down even more just to keep it running. Oh wait, I hear it kind of ramping up now. Oh, here we go. Now it's really starting to do something. I can actually hear the compressor revving up. And it got up to 54 watts, so that's still really good. And this is on max mode. Let's go ahead and switch it to eco mode and see if that does anything. And you can hear the compressor kind of start winding down. Yes, and it winds down all the way to 34 watts in eco mode. So let's go ahead and click it back to max. And within a second or two, you can hear the compressor start to wind up. All right, and it looks like on max mode, it does use around 51 watts on this test. So that's pretty good. Between 35 in eco and 51 on max, that's pretty good. I wasn't aware of this, but I believe that this 12-volt cooler is also, I think it's smart. I think you can download an app and maybe control stuff from there. It does have something in the manual that says Wi-Fi model and a QR code I can scan to download the app. And I also see on the screen there's a tiny, tiny little Bluetooth symbol. So I'm going to download it and I'm going to see what I can do. Okay, well, I downloaded the app and I followed the instructions in the manual, and I also followed the instructions on the screen on the app. And now it wasn't really that easy, just because it requires you to connect your phone to a 2.4 gigahertz bandwidth instead of a 5, because this refrigerator won't work with a 5. And it also makes sure that your Bluetooth is enabled. And even when I did those, it wouldn't have found it automatically, so I actually had to go into manually install. And you just select the WD cooler, and then it says, to select the Wi-Fi name that it gives you. It's like Smart Life, blah, blah, blah. You select that. You temporarily connect to that Wi-Fi signal, which this emits, and then it will pair itself to the Bluetooth like that. Once you do all that, here is what you see. It shows WD car fridge. I'm going to go ahead and just select that. And it brings up everything that's on the screen. It shows me that my left side is currently at 3 degrees Fahrenheit. The right side is at 5 degrees Fahrenheit. The mode is on max. The battery protection is on medium. And I have 2 sliders at the bottom here, one for the left and one for the right side. So I can select, like let's just say I select the left side. I want to change it to 37. As soon as I let go of the screen, I hear a beep over here and it changes on the cooler to 37 degrees. And I can go ahead and just change it to 37 on the right side. And now it's set for 37 on both sides. There is also a lock button at the bottom, so if you press that, you can only change the settings on your phone. It will be locked on the screen on the actual unit. So we'll go ahead and turn that off. There is also the off-on button in the middle to turn the unit off and on. And then on the right side, there is more features. We'll click that. You can change the temperature scale from Fahrenheit to Celsius. You can also change the mode from maximum cool to eco mode. You can also change the battery protection from medium to either high or low. And then you can also switch off each individual side, the left or the right box. So this is pretty nice. This is a nice little app to have. Generally, people will usually just set it and then not have to worry about the settings really ever again. But it's just a nice feature to have, and you can actually see right on here, especially if you're using like the Dewalt batteries, or if you ordered a battery from Bodega and installed it in here, you can actually see the battery life at the top left right now, which is also that's a nice little feature to be able to look at that, to see how much battery life you have left in the battery that can power this unit as well. All right, so if you're looking for a 12-volt car refrigerator with a lot of versatility, I guess you could say, I mean, you might want to look into this Bodega. I like the fact that it has dual zones that can be controlled separately, and each one can be a refrigerator or a freezer. It doesn't matter. And then there is the option for like ice cream mode to get it down to like super cold on one side. And also like with these, there's no like just a divider that separates them out. They're two completely separate units. So that's kind of nice. The fact that you can power this thing in 3 different ways. You can power it from an AC source, you can power it from a DC cigarette lighter plug source, or if you have the battery, you can buy batteries from Bodega, or you can use probably, I think at least a half a dozen to like 9 different varieties of 20-volt battery, like tool batteries. And the ones that I got were the Dewalt adapters. And you can run this thing for like an additional 4 to 6 hours on those batteries. I think it's 4 hours per battery. You might be able to run this thing for an additional 8 hours just on your tool batteries. I think that's awesome. This thing does have its own app, so you can adjust everything from your phone. You can turn it on and off. You can adjust the settings. You can adjust the voltage safeties. You can switch it from Fahrenheit to Celsius. Just all sorts of stuff. Oh, and also did I mention that the compressor does have a 5-year warranty? So if anything goes wrong in the first 5 years you own it, and it's the compressor, you're covered. So if you have any questions about the Bodega WD45 12-volt refrigerator cooler, please go ahead and leave them in the comments. I'll have a link to this item in my description, just in case you want to look further into it. Thank you so much for watching this video, and have a great day. Bye-bye.